and live in color.
Hey guys, Joe the Tech Guy back here with another episode this week. For those of you new to the channel, thank you so much for stopping by. And make sure you hit like and subscribe so you get notified every time that I put out new content. For those of you returning, thank you so much for stopping by. Now, it's been a little while since I've done some content. I think a couple weeks ago I did the most recent hot sauce video there, and you guys seem to like that, so thanks for those of you that tuned into that. This week, something a little bit different, just to cover a brief episode. I want to touch on something that a lot of content creators, a lot of people on YouTube, personalities, people on social media deal with kind of on a regular basis, and I've kind of dealt with it for better, for worse. And we're talking about internet trolls, for people who, online bullies, people who just, bother other people online, I guess, to kind of simplify it a little bit. And it's the type of thing that, for myself, historically, I have not handled it all that well, to be perfectly blunt. Going back to internet radio times and first starting to get into YouTube, I've, up until now, I've run the gambit all the way from just traditional internet trolling to, during some of my professional wrestling podcasting days, even death threats, which was completely ridiculous given the nature of the content being discussed there. It's such an odd thing. It's hard to kind of keep it in check because it's the type of thing where you always hear the old kind of cliche thing there. When you get trolled or you get people bothering you online, oh, just ignore it. It'll just kind of go away. Easier said than done, especially when it comes to when you are somebody like myself who does everything kind of in-house, doing the piece to camera like this, doing your own editing, doing your own posting on social media. You're doing the whole kind of gambit yourself, and you're going to put a lot of time and effort into these things, only to then have people just coming in and just tear you a new one, right? In a number of different ways. One of the more recent ones that I've come across, doing some video editing for my friends over at the SMB South Park Review show. I've been kind of taking on some video editing duties there, and a couple of the most recent ones, getting kind of ripped apart by people online. Just, this amateur hour whoever's doing the editing doesn't know what they're doing. And then at the same time, you get people praising it. Oh, no, this is fantastic. It's great. And it's just it's really hard to kind of take the good with the bad sometimes. And I guess that's one of the kind of points I'm going to try and make here is that when it comes to dealing with online trolling and bullying, all that kind of stuff, is you have to be able to take it in stride and just kind of leave it behind you. Like I said, there are times where it can be easier said than done, especially when you do put a lot of effort into something only to have it kind of torn apart. But if you do want to, this is a cautionary tale and a little bit of warning for anybody looking to do content on the internet and putting yourself out there like I'm doing, is you have to have that ability to, to see those kind of things and then to just kind of shrug them off and just say, what, on to the next one, and to not let it continue to bother you and then kind of affect things kind of going forward, especially if you let it kind of continually bother you and kind of build up and not kind of deal with it, which is another kind of goal of this video that I'm doing right now, is to kind of to address and to kind of get a little bit of it off my chest without lashing out at the trolls, because that is another thing that you definitely don't want to do. Is you don't want to lash out and call names or name people specifically by name and that kind of stuff. That's not a game that you want to play, because that will just fuel them more to bother you going forward. So yeah, it's the type of thing where I've dealt with a fair amount of trolling in my content creator, quote unquote, journey that I've been on here, and it's hit and miss, and it seems to happen infrequently, thankfully, and not too often. But when it does, it does bother me for a little bit, and then and I just kind of come to the realization, it's like, hey, you know what, these kind of things happen, you just deal with it and move on. And that's really all I can say for those of you kind of looking to do what I'm doing. If you are looking from the outside looking in, thinking, hey, I want to be somebody on YouTube or put myself on the internet, is be prepared for some negativity and just handle it in a way that it won't cause more negativity to come your way, is about the best way I can kind of put it, and a good way to kind of go about it. All right, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next time where we talk about how tech matters. HTM Tech is brought to you by Microplay, located at 265 King George Road in Brantford, Ontario, Canada, for all of your video game and collectible needs. One other quick thing to mention before I do leave you guys for this week. Unfortunately, we did lose our sponsorship with Rogue Energy. Unfortunately, lost the affiliation there just due to lack of activity on the account there. Nobody seemed to be using the offer code, so it sat dormant for a little too long. So have lost that sponsorship for the channel. That's all right. We will work on something else. Have a few things potentially on the go, but we'll see. But as for right now, this program is essentially unsponsored. We still have affiliation with Microplay, which is still really cool, but with Rogue Energy, that unfortunately has come to an end.